Thank you for joining me again on this, our 6th week of the Southern Michigan Conference VisionCast. In the preceding weeks, we've rolled out our conference mission statement, which is partnering together to ignite a spirit-fueled movement of disciples, leaders, and churches. We've employed this image of a large sailing ship under full sail, each sail billowing with the wind of God's Spirit. Today we unfurl the third of 4 sails so we can take a closer look at this particular goal, which is the goal of deploying leaders. When you study spiritual movements throughout history, you quickly discover that one of the primary characteristics is found in the rapid multiplication of new leaders that the movement generates in order to serve the growing numbers of people who are being reached. We first encountered this phenomenon in Acts chapter 6, when the growth of the church outpaced the existing leadership structure of the 12 apostles. The rapid expansion of the church meant that new leaders were needed to serve the needs of the growing body. The office of deacon emerged, and those first deacons added leadership horsepower to the mission of the early church. As a matter of fact, the result of the deployment of these new leaders resulted in, quote, the number of disciples in Jerusalem increasing rapidly, Acts 6:7. That's why we've identified deploying new leaders as one of our strategic goals as a network. Developing leaders will require that every leader identifies, invites, develops, and deploys new leaders into the mission throughout our region. What does this mean for each one of us? Well, if you're an SMC appointed pastor, we're asking each of our pastors to make it a leadership goal to bring a minimum of 1 new leader into the SMC pipeline on an annual basis. But most of us aren't vocational pastors. However, many of us are lay leaders who love our churches and are committed to the mission of Jesus. So what does this have to do with us? Everything. Historians also tell us that another primary characteristic of spiritual movements is that they are driven by everyday lay people who are filled with the Spirit of God and committed to the mission of Jesus. Years ago, something terrible happened in the church when a sharp distinction between clergy and laity was introduced. Too often, pastors have seen themselves as the leader of the church, and too often lay people don't see themselves as leaders at all. And when that happens, the pipeline of deploying new leaders gets shut down. Pastors become too busy doing religious things, and lay people become too passive regarding the ministry of the church. Friends, we need to dream about each pastoral leader fully committed to introducing a new leader into our leadership pipeline annually, but we also need to dream about each church being a leadership factory, deploying all kinds of lay leaders into the mission of Christ. We need more spirit-filled teachers and deacons and ushers and greeters and group leaders and youth and children's workers. We also dream about how some of these lay leaders will be called out from among us to serve as dinner church pastors or to start some new expression of church in an underserved region of their community. There's a great big world of need out there. We need to commit ourselves to deploying new leaders into the mission of Jesus.